Hey, so today we're going to be talking about the Ajna Centre or the Mind Centre. Now, this centre connects to the head centre and connects to the throat centre. And the Ajna Centre or the mind is all about processing thoughts. It's an awareness centre and it's an awareness centre and so we've got 3 awareness centres. I think I mentioned this yesterday. We've got the spleen centre, which is our intuition. It's our oldest awareness centre, and that one deals with fear. It deals with survival. It deals with all our ancient survival instincts. So you've got that one there. Then we've got the Ajna Centre, which is where we are at and moving from, in that we are very mind-centered. I think, therefore I am, that kind of energy. And that awareness center is intuitive. And then we've got our emotional awareness center, and that is where we're moving to. So human design is all about moving away from this head center, taking it with us, like taking that intuitive awareness, that fear survival awareness, and moving into the emotional awareness of the solar plexus system, but back to the Ajna Center. So that is where the inspiration comes in through our head and it gets processed into beliefs. It's the area of conceptualization. So we're taking something from the ethers, bringing it down and being like, okay, so if we were to take it down to form into the throat center, how would that come about? So it's conceptualization, it's data processing, it's beliefs, it's where all that brain function is happening, right? So if you have that center defined, colored in, that means that you've got a consistent way of processing information. And when you've got a consistent way of processing information, you want to be aware that it's a consistent way of processing information and not to be blinded or not to have your blinders on. So being open to the awareness that you process in a particular way. So if someone comes with another way or another thought or another belief, another concept that is different to yours, it's understanding that's fine. That's your belief, and I process this in my way, and this is my belief. And really just acknowledging and recognizing that you do that in your way. So there's no right, no wrong. It's just you do it in your unique way, which makes you unique. Then if you have that center open, being aware that you can take on other people's thoughts, beliefs, and opinions. And so it's with the open center, you don't want to get really tied to and attached to an opinion. You want to be like, interesting. So with our open centers, interesting. That's interesting that thought is coming to me. That's interesting that belief is creating a reaction in me, right? We don't want to be attached to it. We want to be able to not be the sponge, but be the sieve and let it flow through. Now, interesting interesting piece of information. If you've got that center and that center with none of the numbers colored in, there is a good chance of a photographic memory. So that's what's in the textbooks. But in my personal life, I have a niece who spelling's not her strength. But if she sees someone write a word, she's going to remember that spelling. And she has both of those centers completely open. So that is very interesting. The other thing is, with those 2 centers joined, your Ajna and your Ajna and your head center, you've got that inspiration coming in and being processed. And so when we look at the lines that connect the centers, that is actually, so our centers are based on the chakra system, and the lines, the channels is what they're called, that is based on the Kabbalah. So the Jewish Hebrew Kabbalah and the Indian chakra system. And then our astrology comes from the Western and Chinese astrology, and the numbers, 64 numbers all throughout the chart, and they're the same on every single chart, like the 64 placements in the chart are all the same, but you will have different ones highlighted in your chart for your uniqueness. And that comes from the Chinese I Ching. So all of these systems coming together to coalesce in this new information that is coming to us as we shift into this new energy and this new paradigm. So Ajna Centre is the centre for conceptualization, taking the inspiration, turning it into something that is actionable as it moves down to the throat. It's a data processing centre. So in here, up in our head, we've got the inspiration, the ethers, the floaty fairies, and then as it comes down into the ajna, that gets consolidated into usable information, if you will. Coming back to how to use that and how to take that awareness of whether you're open or undefined comes back to your strategy and authority. So for our manifestors, if this information is creating an urge in you to act on it, then you're going to take that and work with your strategy, the way that you interact with the universe. If it is open centers, then you're going to let it flow through. If it's in your defined centers, then you're going to take that on board with your strategy. Actually, if it's open or if it's undefined, open or defined, you're going to use your strategy and your authority. That is the first port of call for movement in the world, right? So if you're ever confused, manifestors, you're needing to inform, generators, manifesting generators, you're waiting for something to respond to. Projectors, you're waiting for the invitation, and reflectors, you're sampling that energy, and if there's a decision to be made, you're waiting for that lunar cycle and seeing how the moon is interacting with your energy throughout the phase of that 28 days. So if there are any questions, if I've confused you, let me know, because I feel like I'm trying to make it as simple and clear as possible, but I might be confusing you. And if I am, I need to know so that I can level up my game. But yeah, that's coming to you with love. We're going to move into the throat center tomorrow. The throat center is the center of manifestation, as in, if you well, I speak, therefore I am. I think therefore I am. But the power of our words, bringing forth things into form. Okay? All right. It's Friday today, so hope you all have a great day.